All right.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at World of Pets podcast. We love having you here on a weekly basis. And, we want our pets to live as long as possible, but we want that to be a good quality life. So to that end, we on this podcast explore all things about pets and animals so that we can have them around for a long time, but they are living a quality life. So again, thank you for joining us. Take it away, hosts.
Joining us again on World of Pets podcast. Our sponsor initially, Debbie, is the owner and primary sponsor of this show, and it's debspets.com, DEBSPETS.com. That's DEBSPETS.com. And tonight, Anthony, welcome. I'm going to introduce Ron here in a moment. But I just want to say thank you both for joining us here today. We have a very good show. We're going to talk about big dogs, pros and cons. So, Anthony, welcome.
Hey, thanks, man. Good to see you again, buddy.
Always. And Ron, thanks for being on. So,
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I understand that you are a business owner.
Right.
So tell us real quick about that. We'll do that on the outro as well, but give us a quick.
Sure. I own Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. So we are a licensed commercial and residential contractor for all things heating, cooling, and heating, cooling, and plumbing.
And that's right here, just to be clear, in Southern Arizona.
Southern Arizona, yes. Tucson and the surrounding areas, yes.
We just had ours redone today. That was part of my circus show today.
Okay.
But I'm here in Colorado Springs, where it wasn't quite as deadly as Arizona. So
yeah, it was close to 110 degrees today here in Tucson.
Yeah, we almost died at 90.
I don't know why Ron didn't just send a crew up to Colorado Springs. I mean, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
That's true. Yeah,
and
that'd be a nice little road trip.
Down. He could be brought me right back down, and I could sleep on your couch, Anthony. All right, so Ron, let's talk about it. You want to talk about big dogs, big breeds?
Sure.
What are the pros and cons? How would you like to start this convo?
Well, so I've had two different breeds of large dogs, boxers and Dalmatians. So I've had those over the last about 35 years. My first big dog was a boxer, and I got him my senior year of high school. And he was one of my first of many what I call divorce dogs. So, people get divorced, and it's usually the guy's dog, and he can't take it because he's going to an apartment, and he has to get rid of his dog. So I got a beautiful 2-year-old boxer that for free, and just fell in love with the breed.
Very nice. What were the most significant traits that you would say that was like immediate, like most immediate?
I think probably just their loyalty, and they just want to be part of the family.
Absolutely.
And now boxers a lot, because of their look and their perceived persona, can get a bad rap.
Sure.
They're
very muscular. They're large dogs.
Sure.
I mean,
I had
several of them that
had
have been 100 pounds. So
yeah, I had a friend growing up that had boxers, and I loved them. I think they're great dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think, outside of their look, that are they really gentle to giants? Why do you think that's the perception that they give off?
Yeah, well, I think with any dog, I mean, it's just how you raise them, how you treat them, whether they're going to be a mean dog or a nice dog. But from everything that I've seen, and I've had 6 or 7 boxers, I think, in the last 35 years, and they've all been great family dogs. I mean, protect the family, protect the home. They're right by your side. They want to be in your lap half the time. So,
do they like to sleep under your knees when you're laying on the couch?
Yeah. They'll get right up on your lap when you're watching TV. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite big dog is a dachshund. So
Yeah, that's a big dog.
Yeah.
they're just easier to pick up. That's all. But they're still
That's
big
true.
dogs. They think
Yeah.
they're big dogs. That's
Yeah.
all right. So beyond just like their basic behavior,
Hmm.
and being, I know most dogs are going to be protective of their families and that kind of stuff,
Sure.
especially kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If they're raised around the kids, how did your dogs react when other people came around, like strangers? When you had your kids sitting outside on the porch, or go for a walk with your kids,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. What were the general initial reactions?
In general, their reactions were really good. It's funny because dogs kind of sense things that we don't sense, and sometimes certain people will come around and they don't like them, and sometimes it's for reasons that we don't even know,
Yeah.
but they just kind of sense something about them, and the hairs go up on their back, and they kind of rigid, and they're on alert. But for the most part, like when other kids come around, or when the parents come, to pick up, our kids friends, things like that, they're generally, ready to play with you.
Sure. Yeah, and I've heard that said a lot before about dogs. You're touching on they sometimes seem to sense things in people that we don't sense or can't see. And
Mhm.
I've heard it said that dogs are the best judge of character. So if somebody's around and the dog's uncomfortable, you probably ought to pay attention to that
Right,
and
right.
be a little more curious as to why. Why is the dog
Mhm.
uncomfortable?
Yeah.
And that's an interesting point, because I've seen dogs just run out of the house as soon as the door's open, and attack another dog.
Oh.
I've also seen dogs run out of the house, and then they're just going to go see the kids that are walking by that they know.
Right.
Have you ever had an instance where you didn't have control over your dogs, and you had a
We
little
had
bit
a
of
dog.
anxiety?
Yeah, well, we had a dog that we got from as a puppy. So he was very young when we got him, and he turned out to be a big 100-pound dog. But his early years, when he was very rambunctious, he liked to take off. Any chance that he could take off, and then it was a game to him. He would be down the street. He'd be two or three houses down, and he'd wait for you. He'd look at you, and then when you'd almost catch up to him, and then he'd take off again.
Yeah.
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 So it was just a big game, and he could do it for like an hour.
We call that dog fetch.
Yeah. But yeah,
It's a whole different
that was
game.
only one. The rest of my boxers, I think, have pretty much just stayed with us, and he's the only one that I got as a puppy. The rest of them were either rescue dogs or divorced dogs, and so they were a little bit older when we got them.
Okay.
Yeah, great camping dogs. I mean,
Yeah.
they stay with you. They don't go anywhere. They'll just stay at the campsite. Lay down. Want a snack every once in a while, and just chill out with you.
How about the Dalmatians? What's your favorite part of the Dalmatians?
Dalmatians can be a little bit hyper too, but they're good dogs. We had three or four of them, and we haven't had a Dalmatian for probably 15 years.
Hmm.
But those were all older Dalmatians that when we got them. So we probably had them maybe 4 or 5 years each, just because they were older when we got them. So we had them, through the end of their life. But they were really good dogs. They were good with most of them were good with the kids. We had one dog that we got and we had for a very short time, just because she wasn't good with the kids, and we were afraid that she was going to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the lady that gave her to us got rid of her and just didn't tell us that. So, but overall, I mean, the rest of the Dalmatians were really good. They're good with the family. They like to play. Just good dogs.
Well, I've had an experience with a family that had a Dalmatian,
Mm.
and I was asked to house sit, and as long as the family wasn't there, the dog behaved. As soon as I was there with the family, the dog tried to kill me.
Uh-huh.
Not literally tried to kill me, but was extremely,
Yeah.
bark, 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 bark. Like, I
Protecting
don't
that
trust
family.
you. Now that they're gone, all right, you're cool. So it was very interesting. I mean, that's a unique breed, and there a lot of people associate them with firefighters and that kind of stuff. And
Sure.
what do you think unique traits that they would have that would attract them into that kind of scenario, if you will?
Yeah, I don't know where that originally came from, being associated with the firefighters, but you see them a lot in the older pictures. So there must be some kind of history there. But
Yeah.
they're good loyal dogs, and they're big enough that they could probably do some jobs if they needed to.
Sure.
I mean, we definitely had Dalmatians that were we had one girl that was probably about 80 pounds. So she was a big girl. And the other ones weren't quite that big, but yeah, they're fairly good sized dogs. I don't think they really, at least the dogs that we had, at least the Dalmatians that we had, I don't think they were real big protectors. I think they're just more family dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like to play fetch and all that kind of normal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I like big dogs. My parents have what they call livestock guardian dogs, or LGDs, and those things are huge. Their paw prints are about that big.
Oh, wow.
They're big, big dogs. But because of where I live and my living situation, I have two smaller dogs. The first dog I have, she's a border collie beagle mix. So they call it a border beagle. And she is literally, according to the vet, a medium. She's right where medium and small intersect.
Right.
So she's a medium officially. And then for Christmas, my daughter adopted from the local clinic here, or shelter here. She adopted a dog that they claim is a dachshund mix, but it looks more to me like beagle mix than anything else. So they're both smaller dogs. What attracted you to bigger dogs over smaller dogs?
Man, I don't know if there's any one thing that I like about bigger dogs, but I just like that big, goofy, slobbering, dog. Just your buddy,
Yeah.
Just that big dog that when you come home from work or whatever, he's there for you, and he's kind of right in your face, and he's your buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's hanging out with you.
Yeah, when I went to Florida, my buddy's dog, I would say he's probably a medium too. But I called him Giant Peyton Poo because he looks like him, but he's a pit bull mix. And he adopted me when I went down there. But they had a German Shepherd too. And the German Shepherd would always be wow, 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 wow. Like, I'm going to learn that language right now. So, are your dogs, were they vocal, or did they have their own language that you had to learn? Or?
I have a female right now that's pretty vocal. We always say that she's talking like Chewbacca because she's kind of she kind of does makes those Chewbacca noises. But yeah, if she wants something, or when we come home and she's there, if she's outside or whatever and she's at the gate, then she'll let us know. And it's not a bark, it's kind of she's talking to us.
Sure. Yeah.
She says it's time for a popsicle, yo.
Yeah.
So my border beagle does that. She's very vocal all the time. Like, I didn't get home till 11:30 last night, just out doing stuff, and
Right.
she was like going nuts at 11:30. And I live in an area of town where it's a series of townhouses, and I'm like, we're gonna get in so much trouble. Like, one of the neighbors is gonna be so. But she's just talking away.
Right.
It's not always just barking too. I mean, they have their own language and tones and stuff. So
Oh yeah. And they have different different barks. So like if they have something kind of cornered in the yard, or something like that, then you can tell when something's out there and you need to go out in the yard and check on them. Maybe there's a snake out there or some kind of other critter that they have cornered in the yard, and make sure that they're safe. They don't get bitten or anything.
So, David, we have these things in southern Arizona called nope ropes. Some people call them snakes. I call them nope ropes because you don't want to mess with them.
Hmm.
Yeah, you just give them one.
Rattling danger noodles.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So, Ron, if people are looking at getting a dog and they're really considering it, what is one thing that you think they should know or prepare for before getting a bigger dog?
Just the responsibility. I mean, it's it's a larger animal. Of course, it's going to take more food. When you clean up after it, it's going to be more cleanup, just because it's a larger animal. And if you have elderly or small kids in the house and you have a big dog running around, I mean, they have the possibility of knocking someone down. So you just have to be considerate of that and be wise with your choices.
Yeah, I just had one of my mom's neighbors that has dogs out. They were out of town and her mom was watching them. So I went out to say hi to the dogs. Mom came over and I was like, so what's the biggest concern that you have with the bigger dog? And she's like, well, he's always trying to knock me over or just getting in the way.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
very relevant thing.
Yeah, sure. Or they're right under your feet because they want to be right with you, and they're right behind you, and you turn around and you trip over them. So it happens sometimes.
And to me, that's the problem with the smaller dogs. Or the bigger dogs do have the potential to knock you down, especially if you're unstable on your feet or maybe
Right.
older. But with like my smaller dogs, like especially when I'm gone and busy, because I'm busier now than I have been in the last year. And when I'm gone and busy and doing things and I'm gone multiple days at a time, like they don't want to leave me when I get home. I'll literally be trying to walk, and next thing I know, I got a dog right under my feet, and I'm stumbling through the house, like trying to get through. And they look at you like, "Why did you step on me?" Well, you got right underneath my feet.
Right, and you don't want to hurt them. It's just,
no, absolutely not. Yeah,
they get under your feet sometimes. Yeah.
And that cry, oh, that cry. I can't even remember. I can't even get that high. But yeah, I know it all too well for my dachshunds because you just turn around, yip, and they're not happy with you for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good thing about dogs is they have a short memory. I mean, if you treat them good, if you treat them part of your family, if you yell at them or whatever every once in a while, they have a pretty short memory. They come back and they want to be your buddy after a couple minutes.
yeah. That's why they're people's best friends, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So, did you do all the training yourselves? Did you train your dogs? Was there challenges in training larger dogs?
I've had dogs where we've trained that we've taken to be trained, through the dog classes, and then some of the dogs we didn't do any training with. Like I said, they're older dogs already, so they're already a little bit slower than they were in their youth. Boxers, usually their first 3 years they're insane. They're crazy. They're on crack. They're running around and they're just full of energy.
Sure.
But they start slowing down after 3 years old. So, but yeah, I think training is a big part of it. And we do have a dog that we got in November, right at the end of November, and she's 3 years old, but she needs some training. So I think after the summer we're gonna get her some training. She likes to jump up on everyone. So other than that, she's a great dog.
Yeah, I can confirm that as far as the 3-year mark. That really does seem to be like at that point they're out of the puppy phase.
Mm-hmm.
They've learned your voice. They've learned the patterns. They've learned, all that stuff. Let's see what we got. I got a message that just came in the chat. If they are energetic, is it better to wait for trading?
No, I don't think so. Probably the sooner the better to get them trained. I mean, dogs are smart. If they're young, you can train them, and then they're going to have those habits for life. So give them good habits and let them have them for life.
Especially with the larger dogs, if you're going to walk them, like leash walk them, you want their leash demeanor and their leash manners to be good. Because, again, back to the whole, if you have seniors in the home or smaller kids that maybe the dog can pull around rather than them lead the dog. So I
Right.
think I would agree with that. The earlier you train them, especially with those leash manners, I would think probably the better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
totally
so.
agree with that. And I've got a friend that has two bigger dogs, but he won't even put a collar on them for identification. He's like, well, they're chipped. I'm like, okay, the neighbor doesn't know how to read that.
Right.
Yeah.
So put a collar on them. Well, I don't believe in it. Well, okay. So how would you want, your child identified if your child got loose from you or out of the backyard? How would you
Right.
want, you know what I mean? So it comes down to a lot of people have different opinions about stuff, but
Sure.
what do you recommend most for a big dog, a collar or a harness?
We've been putting harnesses on our dogs. They're easier to control, if we need to control them.
Sure.
Sometimes there's other dogs in the neighborhood that, want to fight or something, or they're curious, and it's just better to have control of your dog. That way, you can try to alleviate it from something bad happening.
Mhm.
That
Yeah, I
makes sense.
agree. Yeah, like I said, my largest is a medium, and I still harness both of my dogs. It
Mhm.
just, especially because I've got the double leash because I live alone half the time. I only have the kids half the time. The other half of the time, I'm alone.
Mm.
So trying to walk two dogs with one leash that has the two branches off of it, the harness, in my opinion, is easier to control than a collar. I mean, they still have collars for identification purposes,
Right.
but as far as the walking goes, I use a harness
Mm.
for
Yeah.
the dogs.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's share our favorite big dog stories. What's a big dog story that your favorite? I'll start. I had one. I'd adopted her probably back in 2021, and I had gotten her from the local shelter. And I brought her home, and the kids were all excited. She was a black lab mix. I'm not sure exactly what she was mixed with. And I'd gotten her these toys, and she was face down chewing on this toy. And the house I lived in had kind of this odd open concept where the fireplace was right in the middle of the house, and everything
Hmm.
else wrapped around the fireplace. All the other rooms. There was like an office, a living room, a kitchen, a dining room. They all wrapped around the fireplace. And she was in between the office and the living room. The living room was probably 6 inches lower than the other floor,
Okay.
and the couch was bumped right up against the office entrance over there on that side. And she was face down in this toy, rear end up, and I walked right up behind her and said her name, and that dog leapt over the couch, leapt over the couch, landed in the middle of the living room, turned around, and looked at me.
You're up next on that one, Ron. I don't have too many big dog stories.
Oh, I have a story just from a couple years ago. We had a dog named Loki. We had two dogs, Loki and Thor. And then Thor passed away, and so we just had Loki. And he was abused. He was abused for his first 3 years. I think that they were using him to train other fighting dogs.
Oh yeah.
So he didn't like other dogs at all. Um, and he had some issues, but he turned out to be a really good dog after a while. Um, but my friend asked me if I wanted another boxer. That one of his friends was getting rid of her. He just didn't have any time for her. They had a new baby in the house, and they just didn't have any time for this dog. So my friend brought her over, and we were like, all right, is Loki going to get along with her? Because he doesn't get along with any other dogs. And so we introduced them in the front yard, and as soon as he saw her, he was in love. It's the only dog that he's ever gotten along with.
Nice.
And they sniffed each other, and made their intros, and then we put them in the backyard, and they just ran around and played, and
That's so fun.
they're friends ever since. So
Nice.
That's great.
yeah, it was a good story.
I love it. Yeah, I've never had a big dog, but I do have I do have a big dog story. With my buddy when I went to Florida, like I said, his medium dog adopted me like permanently, and he sends me pictures all the time. But his German Shepherd literally learned how to communicate with me, and would wow, 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 wow. Wow. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll get you some water. He'd be super happy. I'm like, wow, wow, wow. I'm like, "I want more food? Okay, cool. Wow, you want to go outside? Fine, I got you. It didn't take me long to learn this dog's language. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're smart. They really are.
Yeah, dogs are incredibly smart. Awesome. All right. Well, let's wrap it up, David. Do your
Okay.
thing, brother.
Absolutely. So thanks for joining the World of Pets podcast once again. Ron Arenas, I'd like you to give your contact info, where we can find you, your business, all that stuff real quick. And then we'll close it out with Anthony.
Okay, sure. It's Picturox Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, and our website is picturoxcooling.com. Our phone number is 520-492-0748. And also Southwest Flavor podcast. It's on every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. And we stream it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Live the Dream Network. So there's a bunch of different places you can find it.
Very good. You guys can find me on Rumble at Peyton Pooh. You guys can find me on Suno at all capital Wolfie. And for all kinds of music that glorify God and positivity in all genres, literally. With that, Anthony, tell us how much we love everybody.
Well, we love you guys more than you know. And as always, if you need anything, please reach out to us. We don't know what we can do for you, but we want to do what we can. We'd rather have that 3 a.m. conversation than to hear your name in the headlines the next morning. So please feel free to reach out. Let's see what we can do to get you some help. And as always, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad that you joined us for At World of Pets podcast. We would like for you to take a look at what our sponsors have to offer, and that sponsor is debspets.com. You can access it through the QR code, or you can just go to the website. So thank you for joining us, and hope to see you again next week.